Welcome to this week's episode of Sammy and Marissa's Husbands. This is our first ever 3-quarter week podcast because I like to be late to things. Going to start stuff off with Trey doing this day in history and an athlete, so he's pulling double duty this week. And then we'll get into some NBA, some questions answered, and some other bullshit.
Yeah, so somebody's got to pull most of the weight for the pod, you know what I mean? If you're not going to do it. Um, but this day in history, a lot of you guys may know, you may not know. It's the 80th anniversary of D-Day, June 6th, 2024. D-Day did not happen in 2024. It happened in 1944. Um, Not going to get too deep into it because we don't want to bore you with military stuff, but it's the largest amphibious invasion in military history. Basically, the Allied forces, which was, us, took 5 beaches along the coast of Normandy, France. We also parachuted into multiple drop zones across northern France, basically like establish a foothold along the coast so they could begin their advance into France. Um, if you see all those like military movies of, you know, people in ships, soldiers in ships, like wading out into the water and basically being slaughtered on the beach as they run up those big cliffs, that's the invasion of Normandy. Fun fact, D-Day just means the day. So like when you're planning and stuff in the military and you're like 15 days out from something, it'll be like D plus 15. Does that make sense?
So it's just day.
It's just day. So it just means like this is the day we're executing. So like D minus 10, D minus 10 would be like 10 days after the day of execution.
So we're D minus 80 years.
Yeah, basically.
Nice.
Basically. But that's this day in history. If you have any other questions about D-Day, you can just hit me up and we can talk about it. Um, Moving into athlete, it's kind of a current event going on. I'm sure some of you guys have seen it in like Twitter or Instagram and stuff like that. Chase Budinger, am I saying that right? Budinger,
Yep. Budinger.
played in the NBA. He was a second round pick in 2009. Played from 2009 to 2016 with the Rockets, T-Wolves, Pacers, and Suns. Career averages of 7.9 points per game, 3 rebounds, 1.2 assists. However, those are largely deflated from the end of his career. He had a stint with the Rockets where he was playing pretty good. He's actually a 2012 slam dunk contest participant where he lost to Jeremy Evans. In that slam dunk contest, he jumped over P. Diddy, and P. Diddy's the only person to look up at somebody's junk when they jump over his head. So I thought that was a pretty fun fact. But he went to Canyon High School in Encinitas, California. I probably said that wrong, which don't really care. He's a 2006 McDonald's All-American, runner-up in the McDonald's Slam Dunk Contest. He was Volleyball Magazine's National High School Player of the Year as a junior in 2005. Went to Arizona University with career averages of 17 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, 2.8 assists. And then after his NBA career, he transitioned to the AVP tour, playing volleyball in 2018. Right now, they're the 13th ranked team in the world and the number 2 U.S. team. So he's playing in the Paris Olympic Games this summer in volleyball, beach volleyball, which is going to be kind of sick to watch. I
I
do
didn't.
think,
Oh, my bad.
I was going to say, I do think this will be the most watched men's beach volleyball tournament ever.
Probably, yeah. Because the NBA fan base runs deep.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we all know that women's beach volleyball draws a crowd for certain reasons.
Isn't oh my God.
Misty May.
Misty. Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Big fan. They were
I didn't they were relevant at least for like I feel like 3 Olympics in a row.
yeah, they were crazy. I remember watching that shit. We were young, I feel like, when that happened, and they did it all the way through college, I feel like.
I think so, yeah. They
Yeah, but I'm gonna be tuned in.
I didn't realize that Chase Budinger played volleyball in high school.
Yeah, he was apparently really freaking good. I mean, if you're 6'7", a freak athlete, you should be good at volleyball.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of cool that he got back into it because I had originally thought he just picked it up because he was athletic and his career was over. But he had a background in it, I didn't realize.
Yeah, so he had the background in it, and then, basically right when his NBA career ended, he played one season of overseas basketball. Can't remember where. I think it was in the UK actually. And then he was like, "Yeah, screw this. I'm gonna go, have some fun in the sun."
Fun in the sun.
Yeah, that'd
That's
be crazy. What if he wins? What if he wins the Olympics?
I hope he wins. I mean, it seems like he's got a shot. How
What
many
are the
teams?
are? What are the odds? I am a gambling addict.
Oh, I mean, I won't be putting any money on that. I can promise you that.
A little future for old Budinger to win. I mean, that you might make some serious change.
Might make a little bit of a scratch.
Might make
I
a little
think
scratch.
I'm going to hit you with a little live fact check. He played in Spain for Baskonia in the Euro League and Liga ACB, averaging 7 points a game.
Interesting. I would have thought he averaged a little bit more. He was on the tail end of his career, but um, he never necessarily was a star. But he went on a stretch this first couple of years with the Rockets where he could score.
Yeah, I mean, he was a pretty good athlete, especially for a man of the caucasity
From the mountains of Caucasus.
and a redhead.
True.
So he had two things going against him.
That is true. That is true. I'm tuned in though. I'm tuned in. Olympics are always fun, especially Summer Olympics. For some reason, I just love the Summer Olympics. You got all the track and field stuff that happens, basketball, all that good stuff. So I like the Summer Olympics a lot. Winter Olympics are cool too. You have the winter sports like the snowboarding and all the crazy like skiing and stuff, but for some reason it just doesn't grab my attention like the Summer Olympics do.
Well, because that was never a option, any of those things for us, really.
True.
I mean, we played basketball, we played, soccer when we were kids, all
Yeah,
that shit.
you ran track for about a week.
Don't ever do that again. For 2 weeks, I was a 200-meter sprinter. Don't take that from me. I'm a multi-sport athlete too. You're a multi-sport athlete. That's why we highlight multi-sport athletes. So what if I had a 1 week track career and one game JV football career?
Yeah,
I
that's
was
a
I was him.
yeah, somebody might be talking about you on their podcast.
Yeah, and then it's not just basketball, football, track. It's also slow pitch softball. It's also tennis. I have a tennis match this weekend. Trying to get some highlights of that and see if the old bag will come out there and film me.
The old bag. The old bag. All right. Well, that's Chase Budinger. He's our multi-sport athlete of the week. Shout out him. But moving into the main event really is Mavs Celtics. So I'm gonna talk to you about some stats for that ass that I pulled up. So we'll see what you think, and then we'll give our predictions. So 15 teams have gone into the finals with 20 or less losses. 14 of those teams have won the championship. The only exception was 2016 against the 73 win Warriors, right? GOAT, obviously. Celtics have exactly 20 losses going into the finals. They went 64 and 18 in the regular season and only 2 losses in the playoffs so far. Also, only one team seated lower than fourth has ever won the finals, and it was the 94-95 Rockets as the 6th seed. And I think they played Orlando? They beat Shaq and Penny.
In one of those years, they did.
Yeah, I think it was that year. But I could be wrong about that. Um, The Mavs are the fifth seed. So they would be the second team ever to win the championship lower than a fourth seed. But they're a far different team after the trade deadline when they picked up PJ and Gafford. The Mavs are 0-2 against the Celtics this season. January 22nd, they lost 110 to 119. And March 1st, they lost 110 to 138. So, with that, do you have a prediction for the series?
Oof. First of all, I'd like to say, how the fuck was that Rockets team a six seed?
I don't know.
I think 94-95 is the team that they had Akeem and Clyde.
Yeah.
That's a story for another day or whatever the fuck you usually say. Um, all that stuff. I mean, there's a reason that teams that are seated lower don't win. They're not the best teams. The Celtics on paper are a better team. Top to bottom, they're a better team. They have more guys. But Luka and Kyrie are so electric. I just I'm sticking with the Celtics game one. And I'm going to be a man of faith and take the Mavs in seven.
Yeah, that's exactly my prediction as well. I do think all these games are going to be close. I think Luka goes absolutely bonkers the whole season or the whole series, excuse me. I think Tatum plays bad. I think he does. I think he shoots bad. I think he shoots bad. I think Luka goes absolutely wild. And I got Mavs in seven. It's going to be a close series, I think. I really do. But I'm taking Mavs in seven.
I'm taking Mavs in seven too. They're going to need a third guy though. Who's going to be that guy? Is it going to be PJ Washington?
It has to be PJ. It has to be. He has to make those corner threes. Um, and I think we'll see every game that the Mavs do win in the series, he makes at least three threes.
I think if he averages 15 points a game, 16 points a game, they win.
I agree. He's got he has to keep that spacing. Because if Luka and Kyrie have spacing, I mean they're hard enough to guard anyway, but if they have spacing and you have to stay in that corner and prevent PJ from knocking down those open threes, like they're damn near unguardable.
Do you think so? Porzingis is confirmed to come back game one. Do you think he throws anything off with him in there?
So I do think he's going to play limited minutes. Um, but to me, I don't think him and Horford do that much different.
I mean, literally no, but Porzingis at this stage of his career has a higher ceiling than what Horford can give you.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, 100%. So
But a
another
lower
thing,
but a lower floor. I mean, but a higher floor too, I
higher
think.
floor for sure.
I
You know
think
what Horford's going to give you exactly.
yeah,
Another
it,
thing that I want to point out is the last time a foreign superstar, specifically a white dude from Eastern Europe, played a 26-year-old superstar looking for his first championship. We know the outcome. We know the outcome that happened there.
that 2011 series will forever for me be the biggest upset slash choke job in the history of sports.
Yeah, they really should have won.
That is the only demerit, truthfully. The other finals losses, a lot of times they were the underdogs and were truthfully lost to the better team. That Mavs team, they had no business. And that whole playoff run they went on, they weren't even close to the best team coming out of the West. That Lakers team was better than they were. And Dirk just went insane. That's probably top three, top five playoff run of all time by a singular player, just in terms of the teams he beat. And that's, he's past his prime at that point. That's not MVP Dirk anymore.
Yeah, he sure looked like MVP Derek.
I can't believe he played another 8 years after that.
Yeah, those last like 4 years though, Dirk was a shell of himself.
Like in 2011, he had no athleticism at that point. Like he couldn't rebound anymore. He couldn't play defense anymore. And he was every game, every minute he was on the floor the best player in that series.
He was, yeah. That was fun. I mean, I hated every minute of it, but
It's
man,
fun
that dude was good.
now.
Yeah, right, right.
Um, they're gonna need something like that from Luca and Kyrie.
Yeah. And just like in 2011, like the big white European went crazy. And the 26-year-old superstar didn't have his best series.
You think Tatum's gonna choke like that?
I think Tatum's going to struggle. I think he's going to struggle shooting. And he's not LeBron. He can't get to the rim like LeBron can. And, LeBron should have gotten to the rim more during that series. But um, I think he's going to struggle.
He, I think, puts too much pressure on himself.
Tatum.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have like not arguably the best team in the NBA right now, like top to bottom, like most role players, like they're the best. It's not close, I don't think.
A lot of those guys are starters on other teams, and they fit their role perfectly with the Celtics. So he puts it on himself, and I think it's because he wants to be like Kobe, which there's nothing wrong with that. Who wouldn't want to be like Kobe?
Right.
But he he's putting a lot of pressure on himself to do that when Kobe's 1 of 1. So
Yeah, that's very true. So moving into matchups, I know we talked about this last time, but the official starting lineups: Drew Holiday, Derek White, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, and Kristaps. With the Mavs starting lineup is Luka at the 1, Kyrie at the 2, Derek Jones Jr., PJ Washington, and Daniel Gafford. So in my eyes, I think we guard it just like that. Honestly, I think Luka guards Drew. I think Kyrie guards Derek White. Jones takes Brown. PJ takes Tatum. Gafford takes Porzingis.
that's the only way it would make sense. I wasn't really thinking about the Drew Holiday Luca matchup, but Drew Holiday is an elite defender and he's got size for a point guard. I mean, he's 6'4". He's a big dude. Luca's 6'7", probably 260. I mean, he's huge. But I don't think he's going to be able to bully ball Drew Holiday, honestly.
No, I think there will be times where we notice the height difference in the post a little bit, but I don't like Luka's not the type of player where they're just going to put him in the post.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be pick and roll anyway, and they're going to attack every. It doesn't matter who Kristaps is guarding, they're getting called up for a pick and roll.
And for good reason. I mean, Kristaps can slide his feet better in theory than the Stifle Tower, but he's not going to be able to do anything if he gets matched up 1-on-1 with Luka. He'll still be able to get a shot off, get to the rim if he wants to.
Yeah, and I think there is a little bit of Luka revenge at Kristaps. I know he said there was no hard feelings in that interview, but I think there might be.
I kind of feel bad for Chandler Parsons because I don't feel like he made that up.
Yeah. I don't know. Lucas said what? Like I've talked to Chandler Parsons twice in my whole life. Like how would he even know that?
He didn't say that one of those times he wasn't talking shit about Kristaps.
That is true. He didn't say that.
Chandler Parsons, but that's also a thing a lot of these guys do when they get a podcast. Maybe me and you also do this a little bit. They just want to say something that gets clicks.
That's true. That is true. They're trying to get people to watch, looking for that clickbait. Um, but moving on, I want to talk about some lines. And obviously, when you guys are listening to this podcast, you're gonna hear about our picks after the fact. So we're sorry we can't give you free money, but we'll go through. I just
If
did
you-
points. Say what?
I was going to say, if you want the free money picks, sign up for the Patreon, $10 a month.
Yeah, sign up. We'll give you free picks every day.
$10 a month Discord.
I mean, we'll do Chinese women's basketball, you know, Serbian lacrosse, all of it.
They don't-
They don't play lacrosse in Serbia.
I don't think so. That's an American sport.
Oh man. All right. So Tatum over under 27 and a half. His playoff average is 26, 10.4 rebounds, 5.9 assists. He had 39, 11, and 5 against the Mavs on January 22nd, 32, 8, and 3 against the Mavs on March 1st.
I think they're winning game one, so I'm going to take the over.
Okay, I'm going to take the under because I think he's going to have a bad series.
But you still think the Celtics are going to win game one?
Um, I don't know. I'm taking the Mavs plus 6.5.
I would take the Mavs plus 6.5, but I still think the Celtics win.
It's possible. I mean, the Celtics had a hiccup against Indiana in game one at home. So we'll see if they come out. I'm not gonna pick the winner. Screw it. I'll pick the winner. I'm taking the Mavs to win, and I'm also taking them plus 6.5.
Okay.
All right, so you got over, I got under. Jaylen Brown over under 22 and a half points. He's averaging 25, 6, and 3 in the playoffs. He had 34, 3, and 4 against the Mavs in January 22nd, 25, 7, and 5 against the Mavs on March 1st.
I'm gonna take the over for Jaylen Brown. I think I like him. He's my favorite out of the two, so I'll take the over on him too.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over on him as well. I just think some of the attention is going to be taken off him, and Tatum's going to suck, so Brown's going to have to pick up slack.
Tatum is going to command more attention than Brown every time, and
Yeah,
that's a lot.
sure.
Jaylen Brown's not bad, two in the 1-2 punch to have.
Yeah, absolutely not.
He
Luka,
still he still can't go left, but
yeah,
I don't
he
know.
definitely can't go left. Luka over under 31 and a half. His playoff average is 28 and 8, 28, or I guess 29, 10 and 9. He had 33, 18, and 13 versus the Celtics on January 22nd. He had 37, 12, and 11 versus the Celtics on March 1st.
I'm going to take the under specifically because I'm taking the Celtics to win.
Okay. I'm taking the over because I think he goes bonkers. I think he might average 35 the whole series.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Next is Kyrie over under 23 and a half. His playoff average is 22.8, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He had 23, 6, and 3 versus Celtics in January 22nd, 19, 4, and 2 versus Celtics in March 1st.
I'll be putting a side bet on Kyrie to score over 30 tonight. He's gonna have some animosity. He's grown. He's a bigger person. La di da, that bullshit. But those Boston Celtics fans hate him, and they're gonna be saying some slurs that haven't been said since the 1960s. And Kyrie's gonna go ballistic. They're still gonna lose though.
Yeah, I think he gets over. I originally picked under, but then thinking about, that game one against the T-Wolves when he had a point to prove to Ant, he kind of went out in that first half and went nuts. I could see him scoring about 17 or so in the first half. And then kind of cooling off in the second half just to be like, hey, like I can do this. All right. But then I still think he gets over that 23 and a half. So I'm taking over on that as well. Next is Kristaps over under 15 and a half. His playoff stats when he was playing was 12.3, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. He didn't play January 22nd, and against the Mavs on March 1st, he had 24, 6, and 2.
Being 7'3" and averaging 5 rebounds should be a crime.
Yes.
It should be a crime. That being said, I'm gonna take the under because I mean he's gonna have rust, I think.
I'm taking the under as well because I think the rust and I think they limit his minutes a bit. I think they just kind of want to get his feet wet.
Yeah,
Um,
see how he feels. You're going to need him the whole series. So there's no sense in, you know, blowing your whole load the first game.
yeah.
I was looking for a different word, but I couldn't find it.
I mean, that's the best way to describe it. Um, so following Chris Stapps, we're both taking under there. Horford over under 6.5. His playoff stats: 10 points per game, 7.3 rebounds, 2 assists. He had 11, 6, and 3 versus the Mavs on January 22nd, which Chris Stapps didn't play. And then 12, 8, and 3 against the Mavs on March 1st, in which Chris Stapps did play.
I would take the over on that. That's kind of similar to Kyle Anderson's situation. Horford's going to hit the open spot up three. Might do a funky little hook shot here and there, maybe a putback, but I think he'll get 7 points.
Yeah, I think he gets.
And I think he's going to play more game one than he might the rest of the series too.
Yeah, that's exactly why I'm taking the over as well because I do think he gets a little bit more minutes than Kristaps does, and they're gonna need him. Like if the Celtics are gonna have a chance in the series, like Kristaps and him have to be stretching the floor. So that's all I have for lines. I just was focusing on points per game. Now with that, we do have a featured guest picks. This is our resident fast food experts 100% guaranteed picks.
Guaranteed.
Gafford over 5.5 rebounds, which I do like. Lively over 6.5 rebounds. Tatum under 9.5 rebounds. Luka under 9.5 rebounds. So I think those are all pretty good picks. However, I'm I'm taking Luka's over on 9.5 rebounds. I think I would. Just me. I mean, he damn near had a triple double for the season. Um, he had a triple double in both games against the Celtics they played this regular season. Um, I would take the over on his rebounds, but hey, these are 100% guaranteed picks. They're locks by old Droob. Breezy.
Yeah, the one. But if each of them get over 7 rebounds, there's only so many rebounds to go around.
That's true.
I might ride it.
Might ride it with him.
I mean, it is guaranteed, he said.
It is guaranteed. You can blame it on him if he loses.
And I think that's legally binding.
Definitely, he has to pay. He has to pay you if he loses because it is 100% guaranteed.
Okay.
So, with that, Celtics are favored by 6.5 tonight. What's your pick? What are you taking as far as spread?
I would take the Mavs plus 6.5.
All right, yeah, I'm taking Mavs plus 6.5 as well. So jumping into the next segment, Lakers are on a bit of a head coaching hunt. They fired Darvin Ham. There's been a lot of speculation about JJ Redick. We saw that that's who the Lakers wanted, and then we see that they're finalizing a deal with them, and then all of a sudden now Dan Hurley's on the table. So, what are we thinking? Is do they want one more than the other?
Dan Hurley is obviously a better coach at this stage. Comes from coaching royalty. His dad's one of the best high school basketball coaches in New Jersey ever. He's a great coach, 2-time national champion. But I don't know how well that will translate to the NBA. You look at a guy like Billy Donovan, 2-time national champion at Florida, was going to be one of the best college coaches of all time if he stayed there. He had a real chance to run at Coach K's record of wins based on his age at the time. And now he's just, a regular coach in the NBA. I mean, he's not a bad coach, but he's bounced around to a couple teams. OKC, he's at Chicago now. Is that what Dan Hurley wants to do?
Yeah, I think part of what makes Dan Hurley great is that he thinks he's untouchable. Like he truly probably thinks he's the best coach to ever coach on a basketball court. So I don't think he's thinking about the possibility of failure.
Right.
Um, Also, the Lakers is a far different organization than the OKC Thunder.
True.
Um, I think the Lakers want Hurley as their first choice. I think they've probably limited putting that out on social media a little bit because uh, they don't want other teams to think he's a possibility. I think it's proven that he can coach. Obviously, he's two-time national champion. JJ Redick has never coached before. So I was then thinking, like, why would Hurley really want to leave college? Like, those top tier college coaches get paid a lot. What's the incentive of going to the NBA? And then I was looking up salaries. So Dan Hurley makes $5.3 million a year through 2029. Steve Kerr makes 35 million a year. Pop
Holy
makes
shit.
yeah. Pop makes 16 million a year. Spoelstra makes 15 million a year. The rest are about like 10 to 8, somewhere like that. So there is a higher ceiling, way higher ceiling for money. College basketball, Calipari makes 8.5 million a year. Izzo makes 6.2. Bill Self makes 6. I do think Bill Self just signed a new deal where he's now the highest paid coach in college basketball, but it's like right around 9, I think. Rick Barnes at Tennessee makes 5.7. And those four are like about as high as you're gonna get. You know what I mean? We're talking about Calipari, Izzo, Bill Self, like that's the
You're talking
ceiling.
about elite level college coaches.
Right, that have coached for 20 plus years, you know.
But also only two national championships between Izzo and fucking Calipari. So
That's very true. I just think there's I know actually there's way more money in the NBA than there is in college.
the NBA is ridiculous money. I don't know how they're able to do it, but they have so much more money than the NFL. At least as far as also it's probably a different pay scale because the players own 45% of the league. So they're probably able to get more money. As far as the TV rights deals and stuff, the players have 45% ownership in that, which I'm sure the NFL doesn't. Otherwise, the players would make more than fucking Tim Hardaway Jr. money.
Yeah, right.
No
That is
disrespect. No disrespect. I didn't mean it that way, but you're rich and you're a role player.
yeah, very much so. So I do think like, just in terms of like financial gain, financial comfortability for later in life, he signs a 4-year deal. Say he signs a 4-year deal to the Lakers, probably making somewhere like I bet they like 11 or 12 million a year. He's obviously not going to be up there with the Spolstras and the Popoviches of the world, but I bet it's a pretty significant contract. He has to coach, you know, twice the amount of time in college, if not more than that, to make that money. So, I mean, it's pretty heavily incentivized.
Also, you got to think it's a much more grueling schedule in the NBA. They play what 36 games a year in college, including the tournament.
Yeah,
And then the NBA is an 82 game schedule. Now they have the in-season tournament, postseason. So he's working more too.
that is very true. He's working more. I do know the hours that dude probably puts in watching film and stuff is not actually working more. He's probably working the same amount.
Yeah, well, he's a hoop head, student of the game. The only thing I don't know if his coaching style translates to the NBA because he's very boisterous, smack his players on the ass kind of guy, like in your face type of coach. He's a great coach. NBA players are used to, you know, they're not used to that in the NBA. They all had to deal with it in college, high school, whatever. But now they're all the man and they're getting paid millions. You don't want some guy telling you what to do like that unless they want to win. Which a lot of times, honestly, I don't know if winning is the first thought when you're getting paid $20 million a year.
That's true. I don't think it always is the first thought. But college players are getting paid now too. So
That's good.
it's becoming kind of a strain on those college coaches. Um, so I do see why people might be wanting to get out of college. Um, selfishly, I want him to go to the NBA because I'm tired of UConn just destroying everybody.
Yeah, they're really fucking good. But they just got that kid to come back. Uh,
Big kid,
not clinging. Uh,
the point guard.
yeah,
Yeah, he actually was a transfer, I want to say from ECU at one point. I can't think of his name for it. Stefan something.
yeah. I'm pretty sure he's coming back for year 5 or whatever.
Yeah, he should. I don't think he was going to get taken super high in the draft, and now that you can get paid in college, like why not come back, dude?
Yeah, I mean that's the reason a lot of these girls are staying. Like Haley Van Lith, she's making more money in college than she would make in the WNBA.
Yeah, and
So
just got picked for the 3-on-3 Olympic team.
yeah, shout out women's 3-on-3 basketball. Cameron Brink, Haley Van Lith. Is it Natasha Howard?
I want to say it's like Ryan something. First name is like Ryan, but spelled funny.
I'm gonna find out right now so we can give proper shout outs to the women's 3-on-3 Olympic basketball team.
Yeah, properly shout out the most entertaining sport there is.
They're gonna win a gold medal, and I'll put money on it.
That is true. They are going to win a gold medal. They probably won't have one close game.
Cameron Brink, Haley Van Lith, Ryan Howard, and Sierra Burdick.
Yeah. So those are your gold medalists right there.
And I'm pretty smer Fredette is on the men's 3-on-3 team.
Yeah, that checks out. I've seen a lot of stuff about him doing 3-on-3 stuff. But with that, we're going to take a quick little commercial break, and we'll be back to you in our 3/4 week episode here shortly.
Have you been eating healthy and ready to splurge a little? Well, you're in luck. Drew here, the resident fast food expert. With the hot new picks this month, head on over to Zaxby's. Try out the Mr. Beast box. Comes equipped with 4 tenders, white cheddar cheese bites, fries, 2 pieces of toast, sauce, drink, and a chocolate bar. Also, if you or a loved one are experiencing obesity, please dial 1-800-I'm-a-fat-ass.
All right, thanks for that sponsor from our resident fat ass, Mr. Beast Box. Also, you have to eat it all in one sitting. It's you have to do it.
Have you had one yet?
I haven't. I went to Zaxby's the day after he sent that Snapchat out, and I tried to get one, but I guess my Zaxby's wasn't caught up to speed yet.
I thought they were sold out. They just didn't have it yet.
It wasn't advertised on any of their stuff.
Well, you do live in Alabama, so I'll
This
leave
was
that.
this was in Georgia, I will say.
Georgia. I haven't had it yet either. I do think it's a little weird. I mean, obviously, I understand it's a marketing ploy to put his chocolate bar in there, but it doesn't feel like a chocolate bar should be in that box.
It's a weird addition. It is an odd addition.
I understand the marketing aspect of it, trying to push another product, but you're already marketing yourself with the whole Mr. Beast box. What the fuck do I know? That guy makes millions of dollars.
True, he's doing whatever he's doing it right.
Yeah.
But moving on, jumping into our next segment, random questions.
You go first.
All right, I'll go first. You got a
How many
couple?
do you want to do?
I think 2.
Okay.
All right. So this question kind of has a story. Not really a story, but just a little bit of an explanation. So I'm doing my gardening, right?
Mhm.
So my plants are doing well. We'll have to feature some of that on the YouTube, I think, but they specifically my squash, right? Squash, I've been doing some research. They have male and female flowers. The female flowers get pollinated, and those are the ones that turn into squash. But what I'm having issues with a little bit is I haven't seen tons of pollination occurring. For some reason, I don't think we have tons of bees. So it doesn't seem like my female flowers are getting pollinated. I know like the wind can do it and other insects like ants can pollinate flowers, but just haven't really noticed any movement, right? So I've read that you can self-pollinate the female flowers. You snip the male flowers off and rub them on the female flowers, right? Creating that pollination. Is self-pollination of flowers rape? Am I raping my squash? I'm forcing them to reproduce.
Um, I want to be clear. This is not a rape joke about humans. Okay? Rape is wrong. That being said, you are at the very least sexually assaulting your squash.
Yeah, there's forced sexual contact going on, and it's making me feel uncomfortable.
But also, do they have the mental capacity to understand what's happening?
That I
I've
think,
I've read that plants release certain enzymes when they're being eaten, so they know that they're being eaten. So do they know that they're being forced to pollinate? In that case, I'm not saying it's the same level of something, but it's questionable.
wow, I'm raping my flowers.
I really think you should stop saying the word rape.
Well, I'm not raping my flowers. I just want to be clear. There's nothing from me, no parts of my
Are,
body going into my
are
flowers.
you sticking your cock on the male flower and then transitioning it to the female flower? Because in that case, I'll call the police.
No, that is not happening. Not happening at all. I'm murdering the male and using its dead body to impregnate the female.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds wrong on all levels.
It, but you're also advancing the species, you know? Like when they use Punnett squares, all of that was with plants. No, it's not rape.
Okay. All right. Cool. I
No,
don't
it's
feel as
not.
bad.
No, it's not.
All right. Well,
It's strange that we framed the question like that. 100%. You know, you just raped my ears.
that's legally binding. I'm going to take this podcast to court when I get charged.
Okay. All right. This is kind of a little bit of a deeper question.
Deeper than rape of flowers.
It's more about you than it is about you sticking your cock in a flower to mate with another flower, which I know that's what you're doing. What do you do when you need some inspiration? This could be you're feeling down or, you feel like you're in a rut. What do you do? What's your go-to?
That's a good question. So I'm a very routine oriented person. So like if I get out of my routine, I kind of feel out of whack. Um, I wouldn't say feeling down is a huge problem for me. I don't feel, that like depression. Um,
Well, let's be clear, it's not real.
well, right, exactly. That's why,
Yeah.
um, but I think the best way for me to find some motivation is really uh just to kind of like talk to myself. You know how you talk to yourself on a basketball court and call yourself a fat ass and piece of shit, and everybody thinks you're talking to them. It's kind of like what I do, but I just do it quietly to myself. Um,
Would you use positive or negative reinforcement? Obviously, I live in a negative reinforcement realm. That's how I operate. And it's truthfully not the most healthy thing to do.
yeah, I
But
don't think there's any necessarily reinforcement. Like it's not like, oh, I'm getting up to the gym. I went to the gym 5 days this week, so I'm going to treat myself to a chocolate chip cookie tonight. Like I don't do that. If I want
yeah,
a chocolate chip cookie, I'm going to eat a chocolate chip cookie. Like it's just how it is. Um, but I think my, just So like an example, I guess, is kind of when I feel like, I'm out of it, I'm in a funk. I need to like get back in my routine and start going to the gym. Like a lot of times what I'll do is I find myself hitting snooze on my alarm a bunch. And like it kind of makes me feel like, why the fuck can't I just get up on my first alarm? So like I'll make it a point to only set one alarm, and like I get up on my first alarm because I'm a fucking an adult and I can just tell myself I'm gonna do something and I do it. And honestly, you'd be surprised of like how much better that makes you feel. You just accomplished the first thing of the day, right? Like I got up on my first alarm. I got up exactly when I thought I was gonna get up. Now I can stay on schedule for the rest of the day and accomplish all the things I want to accomplish. And it kind of like once you do that once, kind of gets you back on track and kind of get yourself out of that like little bit of a rut. That's kind of what I do.
And that's kind of similar to what you've told me in the past. You make your bed first thing in the morning.
Yeah, I mean it's just like, you accomplish the first task of the day. Like you start off the day with those little wins. Like, all right, like I got my life together. My freaking bed's made, so I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back to go to sleep tonight and have a nice, comfy made bed.
I like it. That's probably a healthy way to operate.
Yeah, I like to think so.
All right. You got
All
another
right.
one for me?
Yeah. Random question number 2. You're on death row. You're being executed tomorrow. What's your meal?
Um, does it have to be just one thing?
No.
If it my go-to like breakfast meal, which I could eat at any point of my life, is bacon, egg, and cheese, salt, pepper, ketchup on a Kaiser roll. I will anywhere in my life. That's the best breakfast I could have from Nyack Hot Bagel in New York. If I have to pick a place,
All right, I like it. It's hard to beat that, especially, as a breakfast sandwich. Hold the ketchup for me, but a little bacon, egg, and cheese bagel is tough to beat. I'm on death row. It's my, last day. I'm being executed tomorrow. I'm probably ordering, 2 pizzas because I don't have to worry about how I'm gonna feel the next day. So I'm just gonna just smash 2 pizzas until I literally can't eat anymore.
now I'm going to put you on the spot. This doesn't count as my question, but where from? Like a real piece of pizza or like a Domino's pizza?
No, so my favorite pizza place I've ever had was when I was in Colorado Springs. There's this place called Blackjack Pizza. And it was not like thin sliced pizza, it was just kind of your regular pan pizza. And but dude, there's just something about it. It was always so good.
That's a good plug. Is it what's the flop situation like?
It had probably a little bit more flop than you're thinking of because this is, it's like a thicker style pizza. It almost mimics like a Domino's, how it's got like the thicker crust and it's got a lot of cheese on it.
A lot of
Um,
carbs.
oh, there's a lot of carbs in that thing. A lot of carbs in that sucker, but man, dude, it always hit. It always hit. I would kill for some blackjack pizza right now because the best pizza
Well,
place I got close to me is Marco's.
like fast, like the chain Marcos.
Yeah, Marco's, like the gas station Marco's pizza.
Yeah. No disrespect, Marcos, but you got to up your shit a little bit.
I will say Marco's has pretty solid wings.
We don't have one in Wilmington anymore. We used to have one. Anyway, I'm getting off track. I'll give you my question.
All right.
Me, you, the boys, we got our wives with us. We stroll into Buzz's Roost on the boardwalk. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Oh man, that's really tough. That's really tough.
You can go
Um,
with you can go with a song you're going to sing by yourself or a duet you want to do with Sammy. However you want to lay it out.
so I'm not really a big karaoke singer, but if I'm going in there and I want to put on a show, it's got to be "Buy You a Drink" by T-Pain.
Lock it in next time you're down here.
All right. All right. Buy you a drink.
That's a good one. If it was me, Juicy by the Notorious B.I.G. I still haven't figured out how to really sing it correctly without, saying all the expletives, if you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
I gotta work that out before I bring it out in public. And if it was a duet, oh my God, I can't remember the name of the Kid Rock, Sheryl Crow.
Oh,
Picture.
yeah. I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it for some reason.
I think it's called Picture.
Yeah, it could be.
I'm 95% sure that's what it's called.
Yeah, it's called Picture. I like that. That's a good choice. Good karaoke song.
All right. Do you want to hop into those questions that we had answered? There was a question posed to us also that we could answer while we're in the question segment.
I do like us going through all those questions the listeners have commented, or comments that they've talked about. So I don't know if you want to lead that one or you want me to.
I'll start it off. I'm supposed to be starting this off, but I'm an idiot and I was trying to screen share with Trey, and then it turned into about 30 seconds of me being dumb and there being dead air. So Trey's going to start.
But I can go. I got it right here. So basically, a couple of questions. We had favorite MMA fighters, thoughts on the climate in Orlando, favorite bars that we missed in our best bars draft, a question from old Mikey Two Sticks that was posed to us. So some favorite MMA fighters that some people commented that they liked. Mike had old Roy Nelson, GSP, and DC. I think three great fighters, super entertaining. I forget about GSP. Those nights at B Dubs when we went up there and watched GSP just take down people after takedown after takedown. Like he was next level.
And then he randomly came back out of retirement, won the middleweight title, and then retired again. He went up a weight class, retired. Something about Mike is that people call him the White Daniel Cormier.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he's got the wrestling that DC does, but you know, well, Mike to me, favors Roy Nelson a little bit more than DC.
Yeah, I mean, look alike, that's for sure. Not
Um,
anymore. Mike's skinny now. Skinny Mike.
True. So Roy Nelson might be skinny now. Who knows?
Then we have Breezy coming in with Fedor Emelianenko, Diego Sanchez, and also GSP. He did text me and say he wanted to give a shout out to Cerrone.
Cowboy, nice. Yeah, Fedor was on a crazy run. What in Pride? He was in Pride.
Yeah, he was in Pride, and then I think he was also in what's the one that got bought out?
I'm not sure.
Strike Force.
Yeah. So those are three great ones. And then Bryce wanted to know our thoughts on Sean Strickland.
You want to go first, or you want me to go?
I'll talk it. 29-6 record, right? So he's obviously good. He's the number one contender right now in the middleweight division. Does he have the belt?
He lost it in a split decision.
Yeah, he lost it. So, biggest thing with him, obviously, he's a badass. But he's got a very interesting stance on the LGBTQ community. I hope I said those alphabet letters correctly.
You did not.
No, I'm over here raping plants. Can't get the shit right. But he just doesn't have a filter, like even a little bit. He's definitely said some very homophobic things and definitely some borderline racist things. But the UFC community, they just love that shit. And honestly, the more unpredictable you are, the more they like you.
Obviously, he's a very good fighter. I don't agree with all the things he says. I do think he's pretty funny. I think he has some mental health issues, honestly, and I think he's touched on that a little bit. Guy probably needs therapy. he is the person I would least like to run into because he might actually beat you to death. A lot of these guys, they understand that their hands are licensed weapons, and also they understand they're much better at fighting than you are. They might teach you a lesson or something, but he might actually fucking kill you. So I'm not fucking with that guy ever under
Yeah,
any circumstances.
not at all. Yeah, he's a psycho. Absolute psycho, but he's entertaining, man.
I do think he's funny, and I don't even necessarily think he believes half the shit he says anyway.
True. And then moving on, thoughts on the climate or in Orlando. I don't know why we posed this as a question, probably because old Two Sticks lives down in Orlando. Um, but the man himself says it is unbearable and he sweats when he walks outside, which
There-
his nickname at one time was Swamp Donkey. So, so I could see how that could become a serious issue. And
Oh God.
Bryce also mentioned that it is a miserable climate down in Orlando, and why would anyone want to live there?
This was a flagged comment that I had to unflag. It said Kevin. I mean, it's not as bad as anything, but Kevin said it's hot as fuck. He used to work down in Florida, so he would know. Basically, it sounds like the climate is shit down there. Truthfully, I posed that question because I wanted to see if anybody was listening, or looking at the stuff, and nobody is. These questions were only answered because I asked people to go and answer them. So nobody is listening, but maybe they'll start.
That's fair. I mean, just so you guys know, we do have questions posed at the bottom of our podcast every episode. So
There's usually a Q&A, and a lot of times there's a poll. But on that note, this is from our episode Debt Remains Unpaid. What are some of your favorite bars? Did we forget any? Kevin said Flying Machine and High Wire. Those are two local breweries. High Wire, I've been there with him a couple of times. They do like trivia. We actually finished in second or third place one time, and we got like a gift card maybe. And Drew said City Limits if it stayed open longer. That was a fun bar. It was kind of like the country music bar. I don't know if you remember, but there's a video that circulates every year of me rapping Juicy that takes place in that bar.
yeah, so Flying Machine and Highwire are both great breweries. I love those. I've been to them multiple times. Really cool environments, really good beers. Um, so definitely missed some of those on our draft. I think there's tons of good breweries in Wilmington that we've missed. But we were really thinking more of like the going out bars. City Limits was fun. I don't remember tons about City Limits because that was always, if we went to City Limits, it was probably a wild night. But we had a good time. You can't knock that.
I would like to give a shout out to a brewery I like, Waterline Brewery under the bridge. That's a cool spot.
That is a cool spot.
All right.
All right. And then there was a question posed to us. So if you want to take a crack at this one, if both of us were dropped in a dangerous part of the world, obviously not together, this is just separately, somewhere like Brazil, Mexico, the Congo, etc., who would survive the longest? You want to take a crack at that one first?
Yeah, sure. I'd also like to preface this with saying not every part of any of these countries is completely dangerous. Brazil and Mexico are like pretty popular tourist destinations, but you have to go to the right places. Obviously, there's bad places in every country.
Yeah, I think what he's saying though is they do have some of the most dangerous places in the world there. So I'm
Uh,
thinking he's talking about those most dangerous places.
I'm thinking he's alluding to cartel hotspots, which there is a lot of in Mexico. That's no joke. Cartel basically runs their government, from what I hear. Don't sue me, Mexican government. Um, I would say purely from, you know, no resources. I'm guessing we're dropped in with is where I'm going with this in my head. I'm a 100% ball of anxiety. I can barely handle living in my own home. If it was hand-to-hand combat with somebody, I'll be okay. I'm not afraid to fight somebody. That's never going to be a fear of mine. But I wouldn't last 45 minutes. I don't have any type of training to do anything. I can
Yeah,
run and I think I can fight. I don't know, but I mean that's not going to help you.
yeah, just do a slow jog through the city. Maybe they'll think you're doing a 5K or something.
Yeah, you guys care if I run at a 13-minute pace?
So my take on the question is, are we talking like city, like dropped in a dangerous city, or are we talking like the rainforest or the jungle? Because if we get dropped in like the city with the cartel, we're both fucked.
Yeah.
Um, we don't know the language. Like I can say how to go to the bathroom in Spanish, right? But we're white, right? We're gonna stick out like a sore thumb. They're gonna know we don't belong there. So we'd be screwed. We wouldn't know how to work or anything like that. So we'd both be screwed. But if it was like the jungle or the rainforest, we're just talking about like surviving. I think I would survive longer than you would. Um, I've had more like medical training than you have. Like I can stop bleeding, I can clean wounds, I can prevent shock, I can filter water. I think I've done things where I have to like survive on like a limited amount of food more than you have. Um, so I think I would survive that one a little longer, but I think we'd both be screwed in the city.
Yeah, I mean especially we might not survive in New York City. Truthfully. Till they see
Yeah.
me till they see me hoop and then they're like, "Oh my God, we got to keep him alive."
And then they shoot you.
Um, yeah, I don't think this is a question that really is particularly suited to my skill set.
No, probably not. Honestly, what I would do is I would go to find, you know, some form of thing I'm good at. I'd go probably try and find a basketball court, just see if I can make a couple pals.
Yeah, I mean, I could walk into a warehouse and drive a forklift. That's a universal language. Everybody respects a forklift driver.
Do y'all have like universal hand and arm signals? Like,
No, you just go hands straight up and then you make your eyes real big and that's telling someone they're about to fuck some shit up.
fair, fair. Um, but yeah, so that was my take on that question. I hopefully that answered your question, but we'd both be fucked. I think I'd survive longer if we were in like a survival situation.
I would tend to agree. I do have an update on a poll. The poll we posed last episode, is Caitlin Clark getting treated differently? And we have 5 votes for yes and 0 votes for no.
Okay, interesting. That's kind of what we thought. That's kind of what we
And
thought.
it's not necessarily for good or for worse.
But she is being treated differently.
And then we had another vote on, is it sacrilege to put ice cubes in red wine? We have 1 vote for yes and 1 vote for no.
I need to know who voted no.
I wish I could see. I can't
I
see
need
it.
I need to know. Because that person, me and them got beef. It was probably you. You probably voted for yourself.
I have not voted on any of these.
No, me either. Um, but uh, but yeah, I have a final thought. I don't know if you do, but you told me about a situation that happened last week. I think it was a couple days ago, actually, maybe even yesterday. But you can tell the story about the gas pump, and it might alleviate some of the confusion.
Okay. I'm not going to say where I work or the name of the individual, but I've already said where I work. So, I mean, do your fucking research if you want to know. We have our own gas tanks, big gas tanks. We have uh, regular unleaded, and then we have diesel fuel because obviously it's expensive to put in and all that shit, but it saves you money in the long run as far as price per gallon. A guy pulled up, he didn't pull up next to it, he pulled up straight in front of it and stretched the the gas pump hose basically as far as it could possibly go, which is already starting off wrong. But I'm not gonna. A lot of guys do fill up that way. I don't fill up that way because I'm not a lazy fuck. Well, I am, but just not with equipment. He's filling it up, and he says that he put it back, and the hose got caught on the bumper when he backed up and pulled it out. I don't think that's what happened. I think it was still in the truck. I was alerted to this because I was outside taking out the trash. I heard a man screaming fuck at the top of his lungs. I thought, I don't know, maybe somebody got hit by a car, or, we're not in the best area. Maybe somebody was on drugs tripping out. I have no idea. Turns out he was currently losing 40 gallons of gas all over the parking lot.
That story is hilarious to me because I have like an insane fear that I didn't think had ever happened before. But I every time I pump gas, I always check like 5 or 6 times. It's honestly unhealthy how many times I check and look at my rear view and make sure I put the pump back or put the hose back in the pump. Because like I just have this extreme anxiety that I'm gonna drive away from the pump with the gas pump still in my car and rip it out and spill fuel everywhere.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like that. It was nice to be there and witness it. Um, Obviously accidents happen. I do think this individual may have lied about it, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not the moral police. I've lied about stuff. I'm just not a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I mean it's funny if it isn't you.
Yeah, he probably said fewer curse words than I would have if it was me. And I
Yeah.
don't know. He did have the wherewithal to shut off the gas. I don't know if I would have been able to do that in that state of mind. I probably would have been so mad it would have emptied the whole tank. So we would have lost hundreds of gallons of fuel if I did it.
Oh man. It's funny if it's not you, but man, the sheer embarrassment that I'd feel if that was me.
I feel bad for him. I mean,
Yeah, no, I did too.
obviously he didn't fucking mean to do that.
No, obviously didn't mean to do it. And I just keep picturing the freak out that would happen.
Dude, I couldn't see like exactly where it was, but I'm, throwing out trash because I'm the trash man, and then I just hear, fuck, fuck. I'm like, oh my god, somebody's getting killed over there. Nope, just losing hundreds of dollars of gas.
Oh man, that was funny. But any other final thoughts?
We want to give a shout out to anybody?
Not in particular.
Shout out to everybody listening to the pod. Appreciate you answering the questions today. Let's try and make that more of a habit. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Rick Ross once said, "Shout out to all the pair."
That did happen. Shout out to all the pair.
That's all I got.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you next time.